do a front carry using a ring sling. This is the classic version that won't have a flip in the back. So what I do is first I put the ring sling onto my shoulder, so I position it in a way that the rings are on my shoulder. The fabric goes diagonally over my back, under my arm towards the front. Right here I want to make sure that I didn't flip the fabric in the back. And now I find the tail and pull the tail through the rings. And this actually works like one of those classic belts with those D-rings. So you just take the tail, go over the first and under the second ring. And now you can just pull tight or loosen by lifting the ring. I want to make sure that the fabric in the rings are sorted neatly. To do this, I will pull the fabric in the ring, find the top edge, and just start from the top edge, sorting the fabric all the way through until I reach the bottom edge. It helps when your ring sling has different colors on the top edge and the bottom edge, but otherwise you can always check by pulling both to see if it's the same. Now I will reposition the rings at a height that's comfortable for me. I will lift the rings to loosen up the fabric. I need enough space for my baby's legs to go through. I usually prefer to check using my elbow and then tighten the bottom edge just a little bit. The more snug it already is from the start, the less work it will be tightening. And then you can go and get your baby. Your baby will be on the shoulder where the rings are not. So on the free shoulder, you position the baby. Always hold your baby because of gravity. You can either hold below their bum or here at the side where you can also support the head a little bit. If you hold like this over their back, it actually makes them arch. When they are a little bit bigger, just hold them underneath their bum or up here for smaller babies. Then you can use your free hand, go under the fabric and guide the legs to position your baby onto the bunched fabric. Now you can really take the time to position your baby somewhere on your body where it's most comfortable for you. If you need it to be a bit more loose, just lift the legs. And this is also a moment where you can move around a little bit, calm down your baby if needed, but always make sure to keep a hand on your baby as long as they're not held by the carrier yet. At this point you can reposition the rings. If you feel like they've moved downwards, just lift your baby's weight, grab at the rings and reposition. Now I will find the top edge at my side and pull the fabric up, holding one hand under the bum when using the other hand to pull the fabric up. I prefer to pull as much fabric up until my baby's bum will be in the middle of the fabric. So you will have the same amount of excess fabric at the top as you have at the bottom. What this means is that the heaviest part of the baby will also be in the middle right here, which is most comfortable for you. I bring all the loose fabric around towards the rings and pull it through to tighten. For the knees, I really want them to be higher than the bum. So I go in and I tilt the pelvis so the knees will be higher than the bum. If your baby is very small, it can be that the legs are still very much together. You don't want to force your baby into spreading too much. So just follow their natural position. You can also try just giving him the cue to reposition themselves. Wait for them to settle. Then grab the bottom edge, guide it and tighten, moving it towards the rings. And when you reach the rings, pull the loose fabric through. Now when you are finished, you can spread the fabric on your back and correct the carrier on your shoulder. Depending on the shoulder type, you can spread it more or less. Now I still have this tail. I can use it to cover the rings. So they don't get their fingers in here or don't bump their heads. If you feel like you need a little bit of extra security, you can also use it, bring it between the legs and tuck it here in the back between you and the fabric. Or you can use it as an extra neck support. You don't want to be bunching all of this and then over tightening at the neck. Preferably you only use a little piece, put it where you want it to be, and then fold the fabric at the neck over your little neck support right here, or just tuck it in without putting extra tension on it. Either way, you want to be moving as one unit, so when you lean forward, you don't want your baby moving away from you. Of course, once your baby is bigger, wants their arms out and can move their own heads around, you can give them this freedom, just lowering the fabric to here. And especially when they get bigger, they are more likely to be at your hip. We'll just quickly reposition, tightening the carrier. And now you can see they can also be with their arms out. It's a great carrier, suitable from birth, so you can use it with a newborn, which will be more centered, up until beyond toddlerhood. Of course, it's only on one shoulder, so you don't want to be compensating for it. It helps to make sure the fabric is spread out in the back. To get the baby out, lift the rings, hold your child and pull the fabric up over the head. Put your baby down somewhere safe, and now you can just take the carrier off and leave it like this. So you don't need to thread it every time. You don't need to redo all of it. You just leave it like this. You can hang it really great using the rings, or keep this one in the car for quick shopping. Now when you have your finished ring sling and you know on which shoulder you want it to go, you hold it in your arms and the tail will be pointing in the direction of the shoulder it's moving on. So I will be wearing on this shoulder, so the tail is pointing in this direction. Now I slip through it with the other hand, putting it on the shoulder. If I want to be putting it on the other side, I will just turn it around, make sure the tail, so this end piece is pointing in this direction, and I want it to go on this shoulder, so the other hand goes through it to put it on my shoulder. Now when I want to put it on, I quickly check if the top edge is still sorted and the bottom edge too. Retighten a little bit, but make sure to have room for my baby. And now I can put my baby in. I put my baby on the empty shoulder, get my other hand underneath the fabric, guide the legs, position my baby on the bunched fabric, wherever I want my baby to be on my body. Reposition the rings if needed. Now I go and find the top edge and bring it over my baby's back. I want to make sure the knees are higher than the bum, so I just go in here. Also tightening the fabric, bringing it towards the ring. Same goes for the upper edge. When tightening, you really want to tighten in the direction the fabric is coming from. So for this top edge, you want to tighten in this direction. Then the other ones are tightened like this. And depending on the age, you will be wearing more towards your hip instead of wearing centered. Now you can spread the fabric on your back and decide what you want to do with your tail. It shouldn't become a hazard of tripping over it, so I would rather tuck it away if it's a long tail. As you can see, you have limited arm movement if you have a ring sling on. With this type of shoulder, it's actually pretty good because you can still move it, but with a gathered shoulder it will be all the way over your arm. And depending on where your baby is, this arm of course has limited movement too, because I cannot get around my baby as easily. But if my baby's more in the front, I will have two hands free to go grocery shopping or dancing or just read a book, sit down and relax. Now to get the baby out, just lift the rings a little bit, hold my baby and pull the fabric up. I will of course also show it with a real baby, because it might look a bit different to you with a doll, but it's easier to take the time to explain when you are handling a doll instead of handling a real baby. I will show you how to do a classic carry, front carry with a ring sling. This one has a pleated shoulder, so you can see the folds here. And with a pleated shoulder, it's always better to do the classic variation, because mostly they don't work well if you do a flip. Put the rings onto the shoulder where you want the rings. Always remember that your baby will be on the opposite side, so depending on which arm is the stronger one, you will be wearing on your right or your left shoulder. Pull the tail of the fabric through the rings, and the system is basically the same as you would have when you have one of those classic belts with 2 rings or 2 D rings. So you just pull them through both and then go back over the first and under the second ring. We want to sort the fabric, so just find the top edge, check that it's not twisted in the back, and then sort the fabric to make sure it's not twisted in the rings. All the way onto the bottom, and then pull it through the rings. And when you're finished, you can check that it's the same edge on the bottom and the same on the top. Reposition the rings at a height that's comfortable for you. Loosen the fabric enough that you have room for the legs of your baby. A good measurement is to use your arm. Just put your elbow in. If you make it too loose, you need to tighten it all up afterwards. So it's good to just try it a few times and not to do it too much. I tighten the bottom edge a little bit before I'm adding the baby. I hold the baby on the side where the rings are not, and then depending on the head control of your baby, you can hold them under the bum for gravity, or hold them at the side if you want to keep a finger at their head. Use your other hand to go under the fabric and welcome the legs. Now I will just put the baby on to the fabric and position it either towards the front, or once they are bigger, more towards my hip. And now is also the time where I can still adjust the height of the rings, because often once you put the baby on here, the rings lower already. So I will just grab the rings, hold the weight of the baby, and reposition to a height that's comfortable for me. Now I try to position the baby with the knees higher than the bum, so it's just about making this movement that they will tilt their pelvis, and you can see the knees will end up higher than the bum. And I will try to find the top edge of the fabric. It's easiest here at the side, or of course close to the rings, but you don't have a lot of space right there. So I will just find it here at the side, go underneath my baby and start pulling it up. Always keep the other hand underneath the bum for gravity, as long as your carry isn't tightened yet. With a smaller baby, you want the arms to be in, but as soon as they have enough control of their arms to pull them out themselves, just let them. I try to spread up the fabric in a way that the middle part of the wrap fabric is at the bum. So I will have the same amount of excess fabric here at the top as I have here at the bottom. If your wrap has stripes or colors, it's usually easier to tell which piece is the middle of the fabric, and you will notice that the middle of the fabric is also right here at the edge of your shoulder. And if the most weight is around here, that's the most comfortable for yourself too. I just follow along this bottom rail, bringing the fabric towards the rings before I tighten it. And I do the same at the top. Really grabbing the fabric from the back, moving it around towards the rings. And now when I want to tighten it, I tighten in the direction that the fabric is coming from. So on the top, I will tighten horizontally, and then like the rays of the sun, go around, and this one goes to the bottom. And you can really take the time and tighten again to get it even tighter. Once you've tightened the carry and you feel it's tight enough to let go of your baby, you can correct the shoulder and then spread the fabric on your back. Now you still have this long tail. You can use it to cover the rings. If you feel like the rings are close to the face, you can just pull it over the rings, or you can use it and tuck it underneath or right here in your back, so it's out of the way, and it also gives a little bit more security if your baby is a leg straightener. The main concern for parents usually is that the baby will stretch out of the fabric. If you really make sure that the knees are higher than the bum and this bottom piece is tightened, it's more like sitting in a hammock seat with your legs both up, with your knees pointing up. It's very hard to get out of it. So even if they are very strong, they cannot easily just push their bottom up enough to get out of it. You can also use this tail as an extra neck support. Just make sure you don't over tighten it. And if you want to put it into the fabric, only use the bottom or top rail. So a little bit of neck support, and not twisting this whole thing and putting it in only creating extra pressure around here. Now this baby already has enough head control to not need extra head support, but if your baby is smaller, it also really helps to make sure the knees are higher than the bum, because their body will turn inwards and their head will already rest on your body. Now to get out is very quick. So you just open the rings a little bit and bring the fabric up. Of course, always keep a hand on the baby because of the gravity. And then your baby is out. You don't need to get all of the fabric out of the rings, because you can just leave it like this and then easily put it back on the next time. You can always send me an email if you have any questions. You can book a consultation or just find a local baby wearing educator. Don't forget to always check for the airways to be free, the back to be supported, the knees to be higher than the bum and be moving as one unit. So you don't want your baby to move away from you when you are moving around. It should stay close to your own body. If you don't feel secure, it probably is not secure. So always follow your gut. And don't forget to enjoy baby wearing, people. That's the most important part of it. Send me a selfie, tag me, post a comment. I'm here for you.